All right, we're rolling. Okay, so again, this is the Therapeutic Recreation Info session. I'm Rachel Keyworth. I'm the assistant professor for the program. This is my fourth year teaching the Therapeutic Recreation curriculum. We have Lexi up in the corner over here. Lexi, you want to tell everybody where you're from, what you're doing? You're a graduate student, so you have a neat perspective here.
Yeah, so my name is Lexi. I am from Sandwich, Mass. It's on the Cape. I came to Springfield actually originally for physical therapy, and then I kind of jumped ship and joined the TR major, and I was so excited to find it. After my third year of PT, I realized that just wasn't really what I wanted to be doing. So I was really glad to have found TR. I love that it has more of that interaction aspect with it. Like you get a longer time to interact with the people that you're working with, which I really like. So you can develop more meaningful relationships with who you're working with. Yeah, so currently I'm an intern at Spalding. I love it so far. I'm doing adaptive sports. So that's kind of where I'm looking to go with it after.
That's great. Thanks, Lex. Yeah, so Lex is in Spalding in Boston. A lot of virtual fitness and adaptive sport classes happening with a little bit of in-person opportunity right now because of COVID. We send a lot of students to Spalding. It's one of the best rehab hospitals in the area. So that's been a really great experience for Lexi from where I'm sitting at least. And Jossie, tell us a bit about you.
Okay, so I'm Jossie. I'm from Middleborough, Massachusetts, which is kind of by Lexi, but like 30 minutes away from her. I came to Springfield College I was planning on doing OT, and then I realized that's a lot of schooling. So I jumped ships like Lexi my sophomore year and got into TR. And I have a minor in rehabilitation disability studies too. And I am currently doing an internship in Georgia with a Parks and Rec facility. So with TR, you can do like clinical, kind of like what Lexi's doing, but she's more like, it's like clinical plus community-based, and mine's more community-based. So like participants in the county come and do different things with us, like fitness classes, parents' night out. So the kids, parents just drop them off, art classes. We're going to start doing homeschool programs and stuff like that. So
great. Thank you, Joss. Just a little bit about me before I pass the mic to Sarah and Ashley. So I'm a two-time grad from Springfield. My undergrad was rehabilitation disability studies, master's in therapeutic rec. Left Springfield, worked in youth mental health. And then I moved to California and worked for the municipality, and I worked for an adaptive, inclusive community center. So I did anything from early intervention, sensory programming, community-based programming at a really neat adaptive community center. And then I really missed the East Coast. California sounds awesome, but the seasons here kind of can't be beat. Moved back, and I am currently working in autism and teaching. So I'm the rec therapist for an autism company and running social groups, in-home rec therapy sessions. So I'm very lucky to be able to combine my love of teaching, and I'm still an active person in the field. I think you'll see a lot of opportunity through this conversation where rec therapy can take you in different avenues based on how you're developing as an adult, what your experiences are, and what your leisure interests are. It's kind of a nice, Jossie and Lexi, I don't know if you would agree, but it's kind of a nice profession because what you like to do in your free time can become your job. And that's pretty special. If like I'm a cyclist, a rock climber, and if my participants are needing that type of intervention, I get to do that alongside them and share that love I have for that. So it's really, really special. So Sarah, let's hear a little bit about you. Where are you from? Why are you thinking TR?
So I'm from Concord, New Hampshire. I found Therapeutic Rec at like a workshop, and I knew nothing about it, and then once I heard about it, it just clicked, and I knew that that's something I wanted to do. I've always said that I don't want to work like a desk job. I want to be active, work with people with disabilities. So once I found Therapeutic Rec, it all kind of just clicked.
That's amazing. Do you have any like current volunteer experience or a population that you really think would be like your niche?
Right now, I really want to work with kids. I have done Special Olympic basketball, and I also got certified in autism fitness training,
Oh, that's great.
which was super cool. So yeah.
Oh, good for you. Great experience coming in. And Ashley, what about you?
I'm from Walpole, Mass, and I actually shadowed Spalding 2 summers ago.
Excellent.
And right after, I was like, TR, I definitely want to do that. I want to be hands-on. So yeah.
And do you have any volunteer experience or a population? I know you said Spalding, so that's really rehabilitation from injury or medical, out of medical necessity. So is that kind of the population you're leaning towards, or you're just kind of open?
Well, I actually volunteered at like a nursing home for a really long
Great.
time, so I definitely want to be with like the older population.
Oh, that's beautiful. There's a ton of opportunity in elder care for rec therapy. I every week I check like the Indeed and job boards to share with students, what are the trends in our field right now? And definitely trends are, virtual programming, elder care, and, community-based youth programming, which is really great.
Yeah.
So before I, talk too much at you, do you have any specific questions about the major or Springfield in general? You have 3 people that have been here for quite some time. So any specific questions from you two for Lexi, Jossie, or myself?
What are some of the internships that you guys can do?
Great, that's a really good question. So interns for a therapeutic rec student are quite dynamic. The college does what's called create affiliation agreements for sites. And so it's not limited to the agreements we already have that exist. We're open and able to create new experiences. So for example, Jossie right now is in Georgia. That was a new site for us. Alexi is at a site that's Spalding that's been used a lot more. Students can go anywhere in the country as long as we create an affiliation agreement. In a non-COVID year, I would take a trip to visit you while you're in your internship. Internships for TR students are 14 consecutive weeks. And that's for your national certification that you would leave the college able to sit for. You can intern in an elder care facility, adaptive recreation, a clinical setting, community setting, as long as you're supervised by a certified rec therapist. And then I would be the person supervising you from the college's end. So internships are an exciting and stressful time, right? Because they could be competitive. But Lexi and Jossie, do you want to just briefly touch on, what it was like leading up to your intern experience, maybe why you chose where you chose and what the process was like?
I can talk about that. I think I had more of a process than Lexi.
Yep.
But so with COVID, it was kind of difficult because a lot of places, instead of taking like 10 interns or 6 interns, they were only taking 1 or 2. So like it was very hard to find an internship that like I thought I really wanted to go into. So like I was denied from like a couple places, like a lot of the like children's hospitals, like those are very, very competitive, but it's still doable if you have a lot of volunteer experience and like your interview is good with them. But I ended up here at Georgia in a Parks and Rec facility because one of the professors at the school, Acorsi, he went to grad school with my supervisor here. So it was a good way to connect, and like a lot of the professors have connections and they help you find places that you'll be happy with.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Jossie. Yeah. Our department is within sport management, recreation management, and therapeutic rec. And so we all operate as a team. And so we have really big networks of individuals, anywhere from, professional sport, Paralympics, Special Olympics, community recreation. So it's a really neat department to be a part of for those networking opportunities. And like Jossie says, if you do hit a snag at internship process, we will step in and, kind of go through our phones, go through our email contacts and say, who would be a good fit, for this person. And then Lexi, like we said, is at Spalding. And she's doing her graduate work. So you want to just touch base real quick, Lex, about your process?
Yeah, so for me, I actually got so lucky with my internship. It was a place that I was interested in from the start. We actually took a trip to take a tour around the Spalding Adaptive Sports Centers, like their facilities and what they have to offer. So from that first little kind of field trip day, I was so interested in doing one there. So I started looking around, of course, at other places and applying. And I was offered the internship position for last summer. And then as COVID hit and everything kind of started shutting down, my internship got pushed. But I got really lucky and they extended my offer so I could do it in the spring instead. So I'm so glad that they did that for me, and I'm really thankful because I love what I'm doing now. It's different from what I was originally going to be doing. So I'm sure, I mean, maybe Ashley, when you shadowed, maybe you saw what they were doing before. So now we're doing a lot of virtual kind of fitness classes. So I've kind of become a fitness trainer. So I've been leading a bunch of different classes. We offer a ton of different classes. We have one-on-one classes like personal training. We have boxing. We have core and stretch. We have one that is just upper body. We have cardio. A lot of different options. Yeah, I'm really happy about where I am. It was definitely a lot of sending out emails at the beginning though, just because a lot of places just don't post like, oh, we have a TR internship position open. So it's a lot of, you'll get a lot of practice in emailing, but I think that's an important skill to have. And definitely, like Jossie said, we have a lot of great connections within our department that have been really helpful, and a lot of guidance from them.
Thank you both. I appreciate that. Yeah, so the internship process is basically your culminating experience of the program. So if I don't want to talk too much at you, but I think it's important for me to kind of explain how the program feels here. So we have core classes in therapeutic rec that really revolve around your certification and understanding TR, from a holistic perspective. Classes beyond therapeutic recreation courses that are required for your national exam are intro to psych, abnormal psych, and human development, as well as an anatomy and physiology class in a lab. And those are included in the program, so you'll have plenty of time to take them. And that helps you sit for your exam after graduation if you choose to do that, which I would hope you do. And your national exam allows you to work in all 50 states. Currently, there's 5 states that require licensure. And so those certification processes and licensure processes are slightly different, but there's a ton of resources to walk you through that. Aside from the core, the therapeutic rec classes, you're going to learn, the foundations of the field. You're going to take an inclusive recreation class that talks about, the Americans with Disabilities Act, learn specifics about type of disability and individuals you might work with. And then there's opportunities to kind of track your interests, which I really am excited about with this major. So Ashley, if you're interested in elder care, there's a class I would recommend you taking from the rehab department called Needs of Aging. And it's going to really immerse you in a little bit more information about that population than a general TR class would give you. Sarah, if you're looking to work with, youth, and wanting to facilitate in a community setting, there's a class called Challenge Course Facilitation that I would maybe point you in that direction to take, and it would expand your facilitation skills and program development. So there's a lot of examples of different courses you would take. If you want to work in a clinical setting, I would put you in a healthcare ethics class and maybe another anatomy. So you're really leaving Springfield with the core TR foundation, as well as the extra classes that contribute to your credit count that give you a well-rounded understanding of the population you think you're going to work with. Another pretty awesome part about our major, I think, is it's pretty interactive. And so in almost every class that you take with me, we do things called simulation labs. I don't know if you were able to take a peek at the class I posted. And you'll also do what's called service learning. I'll explain simulation labs, but I would love Lexi and Jossie to explain service learning a little bit, since you were able to experience it. So Jossie and Lexi hit on a pretty awesome point about our field, is that TR specialists are able to pivot. This profession has pivoted very well in a pandemic. We've gone from in-person recreation experiences to identifying that people needed connection, people needed movement, people needed stimulation, even while in a quarantine. And who better to do that than a rec therapist, right? And so what happened? Spalding, a rehab hospital, pivoted, and they turned all of their programming digital, and they expanded community offerings. They offered free workout programs to their community, and they kept their rec therapists employed. You know, Georgia pivoted in their own way. So many places pivoted. In my own work, I offered virtual social groups. We can't physically be together, but you know what? It kind of still feels like we're at the same table. And that is really, really special about rec therapists. We all kind of have this personality, right? We just want to give back. We want to be around people. We want to engage, and we have high energy, and we just want to be creative. And I think the pandemic really highlighted the creativity of this field. So simulation labs are my way of immersing you and having you wear somebody else's shoes for a class. So I might have you do an adaptive fitness course with me while you're seated, mimicking a certain type of disability. On campus, I might throw you in some wheelchair basketball chairs, teach you the sport, and have you experience it. We've done anything from simulated art classes where it's kind of a paint night situation in class. I assign you a disability. You might have earplugs in, you might have an adaptive paintbrush, you might be listening to music high, you know, to distract you a little bit. And we talk about those experiences because we can't program for people unless we have a little bit of an idea what it feels like, right? You can't walk a mile in someone's shoes unless you put it on first. I say that probably too often, but I believe in it. And so simulation labs are a really integral part of being able to work in the helping profession, you know, being able to work with special populations. Additionally, the TR specific classes do a lot of service learning, and service learning is a really important thing to Springfield College and a really awesome part of our major, because it connects us to community organizations that you get to participate and build program for live and in color. We're doing it in the semester, you're getting your feet wet in the field, and you're learning with your fellow classmates throughout the process. So Lexi and Jossie, this is probably, I think, the bread and butter of our major, the service learning opportunities. Can you, just briefly touch on how those experiences were for you?
Yeah, I'll start. So for me, it was really great to get to have that experience coming from my background in PT, because we didn't really, for that major at Springfield, you don't really start getting hands-on experience until later in the major. So it was great to jump into TR pretty much immediately once I joined the major. So for service learning projects, we partner with an organization in the community around the school. And we'll plan and organize as the students and totally run a program for them. So we'll design it specifically for who we're working with, and we'll put together a binder as a class with all of our plans. Assessments will follow the API process, which if you haven't learned about it yet, you will. And we'll pretty much run the whole thing, and we'll evaluate our own program. And it really comes full circle with what you're learning in the classroom, which is great to be able to apply it so immediately. So you get that experience the whole time that you're in class too.
Awesome. Thanks, Les. Josh, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, going off of that, that was probably like one of my favoritist, my most
favorite
activity to do, just because Rachel doesn't really, she's there to help, but she doesn't want to do everything for us. So she kind of lets us, she kind of takes off the training wheels and just lets us go through the process of API and putting the whole binder together. And you learn so much through the process of doing that. And I think we did 2 different service learning projects, so in 2 different settings too, which was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. So just really quickly, a couple examples. So one year we partnered with a community organization, and we worked with kids and their siblings that had autism. And I don't know if you know this about Springfield College, but for me, a selling point of going was East Campus, which is our outdoor learning center. And at East Campus, we have universally designed load challenge course elements that we can utilize as students and professors for in-class sessions. And so students are able to plan a 6-week challenge course experience for these kids and their siblings on the autism spectrum. Their parents got to watch their growth and development. Students learned that facilitation technique of therapeutic rec because, challenge course or outdoor education is just one of the many things you can do as a rec therapist. Another year, we've actually done it for 5 consecutive years, was called Shape Up Saturdays. And this was for adults and their peers with developmental disabilities. And so we ran fitness Saturdays with them, and we did sports and fitness stations, and all with the idea that what they're doing with us on Saturday, we can give them a plan of what we did so they could carry it with them throughout the week and continue to be fit and active. And we also did an expressive arts class, again, for an adult population, where they came to campus, and we kind of took expressive arts in a broad perspective. So one week, one of our students planned a seated dance class for them. Another week, they did paper mache and painting and created beautiful, beautiful things. And they created a community. They became friends at the end. It was hard to end that program. And typically these service learning experiences are multi-week. So each student has an opportunity to facilitate. Each of you has an opportunity to put your get your creative juices flowing, work together with, and just like Joss is saying, I definitely remove your training wheels, but I'm not too far away. And so I'll never let you flounder. I'll never let you, look bad in that moment. I'm there to teach you. And I love teaching in a hands-on capacity, but I do think, echoing what Lexi and Jossie said, those hands-on experiences really make our major special. And you're connecting with real people who need what we do. And that's pretty awesome. And those experiences sometimes translate into internships for students that want to stay local, or practicum experiences. So that's pretty awesome. All right, so Sarah and Ashley, any other questions for us? No? Answered them all? All right, are you in a place where you have committed to Springfield? Are you both still looking around? I would love to grab your emails, and if you'd like to sit in on a class, I'm actually teaching all of my classes virtually this semester. And so if one of the classes works for you, if it's just to pick the brains of students, or you want to just kind of check out what something's all about, I would be happy to have you. So if you want to drop your email into the chat now, and I'll drop mine in there. That would be great. And it was really awesome meeting both of you. And if you have any questions, I know, on the spot, asking if you have questions, you might not have any now, but in 5 minutes, you might have 5. So feel free to email me those, and yeah, we'll stay connected and reach out if you need anything at all.
Wait, I just have one question.
Yeah.
For Lexi and Jocelyn. What made you pick Springfield?
Great question.
I can start with this one. So, like I said, I wanted to do OT. So, but before I got to school, I changed it to health science. So I knew that the school was science-based. So that's how I started into Springfield College. And then I realized TR is what I wanted to do. So that's how I chose it, just a science-based school. And I love the community and stuff.
For me, it's funny. I love thinking back to this memory when I went on tours. I went to a bunch of different college tours, and I don't know. I mean, I think most college students will say the same thing. Once you step on campus, you just know that's the school for you. And that's exactly how I felt when I went to Springfield. I had a cold that day. I was sick, and it was rainy and not a great day to go on a tour. But when I was there, I just knew that I loved it, and everyone was so nice and so welcoming, and everyone that we talked to was so friendly. And for me, that was really important. And I love that it's a small school. So, I mean, it's not as small as a high school, of course, unless you go to a big high school. But I love the community aspect, and knowing people that you're walking by every day, you say hi to people, and it's just a great community to be in. And all the staff are great. Faculty is great. Definitely that for me.
Yeah, it's a special place. It's a really amazing community. I find that a lot of students come from like who they were in high school. They were, you know, social, maybe a member of like student government, maybe a varsity athlete. Like everyone has like a significant amount of interests, and just like find value in community. There's a lot of opportunities at Springfield to volunteer, to give back. So many extracurriculars. There's, you know, obviously the varsity level sport, but all the way down to club sports, intramurals. We have that East Campus Outdoor Learning Center. You know, in the winter, they were doing snowshoeing and cross-country skiing, and that's just a free thing to just fill your time with. They made an ice rink in the middle of campus. The student activities are just incredible. You know, they have different activities every weekend. They post them. Their Instagram is really amazing to follow. If you don't follow them already, get a feel for what campus life is like. I think that'd be a great resource as well. Anything else?
Okay, this is kind of weird, but Ashley, and you live like maybe like 35 minutes away from me, and I work at, I don't know if you ever heard of the Bridge Center in Bridgewater. No. Okay, so it's a camp. It's a camp for kids and young adults with disabilities, and I don't know if they're gonna open this summer. I hope so, because I love all the campers. But if you want that experience, it's like amazing.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
just
that'd be great.
I'm gonna write it down.
one of the workers there, I think Rachel went to school with her.
Yeah, we have a SC alum who's one of the recreation directors there, and it's called the Bridge Center. It's a great place. And then Sarah, in New Hampshire, you have Northeast Passage. You know, if you're interested in like adapted sport, I know that their program is really awesome. And then I know there's definitely a New Hampshire like adapted sport community. They do a lot of things on the mountain and a lot of youth programming. So yeah, any little question, no question is actually little, right? So if you're looking for a volunteer experience, you know, more information about internships, yeah, email me, ask me anything. I'm open book about the major, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was so great to meet both of you. And Jossie and Lexi, thank you so much. I appreciate you. See you later, everyone.